only one team every year can say that they have won the NBA Finals at the end of the season, so that really means only one fan base will be truly happy with what their season was. But in this video, I'll be going over every reason for every team that is in the top 8 of their conference, which means they're currently in the playoffs in their conference. I'll be going over all of them and giving at least one reason to why I think that team could potentially win the NBA Finals. I made pretty much the complete opposite of this video just about a week ago, so if that does interest you, please go look at that as well. But without further ado, without running on, let's get right into this video. We're going to start off with the Eastern Conference, and we're going to start at the 1 seed as well. So that means we will be starting with the Boston Celtics. Now, the Boston Celtics are fairly obvious. They have Jason Tatum, who's playing at an MVP level this season and is looking like one of the best wings in the entire league. And Jaylen Brown as well has taken a ginormous step forward this year, playing at a true all-star level, and he has just been very, very good for them as well. And then you also add in the fact that they have people like Brogdon, Marcus Smart, Derek White, Al Horford, and just one of the best supporting cast all around in the entire NBA. There is not a lot to not like about Boston. They're very good on both sides of the ball. They have 2 all-star level players and 1 even MVP level player, and then one of the best supporting cast in basketball. I mean, it's hard to get much better than that, and they have to be one of the favorites out of the Eastern Conference. And going to the 2nd seed, we have the Philadelphia 76ers, and they're kind of in the same boat. They have an MVP level player in Joel Embiid. He is consistently one of the best bigs in the entire NBA. He is debatably the best center in the NBA. I have him as the 2nd best, but there is a clear argument to make that he is the best center in the entire league, and he is always in those MVP conversations, and as long as you have him on your court, you're going to be a good team. And then paired with him, they have James Harden. James Harden is one of the best playmakers in basketball, all while being able to give you 20 points per game as well. So he is extremely valuable to this team as well. And then also a guy like Tyrese Maxey is probably one of the most underrated guards in the entire NBA for what he does. He comes off their bench and gives them a consistent 20 points per game and just gives them a guy who can go out and get a bucket whenever you need him to. And he has to be becoming one of the most underrated young guards in the entire NBA. And then they also have other very high-level role players, one of those being Tobias Harris, who can also go out and give you a bucket whenever you need. So this team is very well built, and all around they definitely have all the tools and the makings of being able to make a finals run going into this year's playoffs. But moving on to the 3rd seeded Milwaukee Bucks, they have a big 3 of Jrue Holiday, Giannis, and Chris Middleton. Chris Middleton is just working his way back, and when he is fully healthy, he is an all-star level scorer. Giannis, once again, MVP, and Jrue Holiday is one of the most underrated guards in the entire NBA. And last time we saw that big 3 healthy in the playoffs, they won the NBA Finals in 2020. So I think for sure that this Milwaukee Bucks team can definitely make another run, and we've already seen that this big 3 can get there, and that is a big part to why they are so good, because they have that veteran experience and they know how to win. They've been to the finals, they've won the finals, they know what they have to do to get back there, and if they can just stay healthy, they will be extremely good and extremely hard to knock out if the playoffs, no matter who is playing them. And now going a little bit lower to the 4th seeded Brooklyn Nets. The Brooklyn Nets are one of the most interesting teams in the NBA. Kevin Durant is one of the best scorers, if not the best pure scorer in the entire game. He's about 7 foot tall, can score from anywhere on the court, can shoot better than almost anyone on the team. Very good hand. Y'all know who Kevin Durant is. He's just a beast. Kyrie Irving, when he's actually playing, is one of the most fun point guards to watch. His handle is next to none. He can score with the best of them. He can do anything you want him to do, and he can play make as well. So them two together are just so hard to guard and so dynamic, and they can keep up with scoring with anyone else in the entire league. And then they also have one of the best, really deft teams in the entire NBA. They have guys like Royce O'Neal, Seth Curry, and just tons of guys like that make this team run at a very high level. And with all the high-level role players they have compared to the superstar level talent in KD and Kyrie, they have more than enough to make a finals run if they get hot in this year's playoffs. Moving forward to the Cleveland Cavaliers, we have, because they really have a big 4. Not a lot of teams can say that, but they legitimately do, as Jared Allen is one of the better rim-protecting, rebounding bigs in the entire NBA. Evan Mobley has an extremely high ceiling, can pretty much score from everywhere on the court. He's very versatile, and you can say he's having a down year, but they also added Donovan Mitchell, so he doesn't have to score as much. So, I mean, he's really doing so many things. He can protect the rim, and him and Jared Allen are one of the best front courts in the entire NBA. And then you pair that, the fact that they have Darius Garland and Donovan Mitchell, 2 very good scorers and 2 just very good guards, and form forming one of the best backcourts in the NBA. That is going to be very hard to deal with when it comes to the playoffs. The only thing even kind of holding them back is their lack of experience, and they're all very young, but I think they're going to be able to gain a lot of that, and they're so talented. I think their talent could make up for that lack of experience as well, and with how young they are, they're going to have a high energy going into the playoffs. They shouldn't really have fatigue as a problem because of how young they are, and that can play to their benefit once they get deep into playoff series. And then for the Miami Heat, they have one of the best cultures in the entire NBA. Their coaching staff is probably one of the best in the entire league, at least a top 5 coaching staff. Their culture is insane. Their big two of Jimmy Butler and Bam Adebayo work very well together, and they're just extremely good. Everyone on their roster works extremely hard. They play very hard, wear their hearts on their sleeve, and that is what makes the Miami Heat so good and why they are so hard to beat in the playoffs every single season. And now the New York Knicks is because they have Julius Randle, and Julius Randle is a very, very solid player. He made the All-NBA team one year, and although I don't think he's at that level anymore, he is still very solid. RJ Barrett, although not having the best season that he's had this year, he can still definitely come back and shake it off after the All-Star break, and maybe he can look more like the RJ Barrett we once were able to see. And then also Jalen Brunson, you never know, maybe he can continue this high-level play and even make it a little bit higher once they get to the playoffs, and if they can get hot at the right time, they might be able to make a pretty fun run in the playoffs. And for the last team in the Eastern Conference, we have the Atlanta Hawks. And the reason in the Atlanta Hawks, although they are the last seed in the East, they still have very fun players. Trae Young, last time we saw him in the playoffs, played at an extremely high level. I'm pretty sure they made it to the Eastern Conference Finals. They upset a lot of people, and they looked very, very good. And since then, they added DeJounte Murray, another elite level scorer, very good. And although they don't play off of each other too well, they can both get a bucket whenever they want. And if they figure out how to play together sometime between now and the NBA playoffs, they could be a very, very scary team going forward. But now going over to the Western Conference, we have the Denver Nuggets. And the Denver Nuggets, they have Nikola Jokic, one of the best centers, in my opinion, the best center in the NBA. He can do literally anything. He's a triple-double machine. He can even score with the best of them. He just does so many things at such a high level. He is one of the best players in the NBA. Showed that he has 2 MVPs, and he is working on his 3rd this season. Also, they have a big 3. Jamal Murray is a very good point guard, and the last time we saw him in the playoffs, he played at such a high level, and it was one of the most entertaining series we have ever seen last time we saw Jamal Murray when he was playing in the playoffs. And then also Michael Porter Jr., if he can stay healthy, is an extremely good small forward and a great 3rd option to be on any team. And at the 2nd seed, we have the Memphis Grizzlies, and the Memphis Grizzlies, they have great culture. They all love to play with each other. They play very hard. They play with a lot of grit. And then also, Ja Morant, they have the stars, and Jaren Jackson Jr. as well. Ja Morant's one of the best point guards in the entire league. Extremely fun to watch. Very athletic. Very confident in himself. Jaren Jackson Jr. might win Defensive Player of the Year. He's locking down the paint. Although he can be inconsistent in the playoffs and his, if he can stay on the court due to foul trouble, he is one of the best rim protecting, just all around defending bigs in the entire NBA. So them two together are very, very hard to deal with. And then also they have something to prove because they really haven't been able to win in the playoffs, even though they've been very good for a few years now. So they really have something to prove, and they probably have a pretty big chip on their shoulder. And now these 3rd seed, we have the Sacramento Kings. And the Sacramento Kings, they're the beam team. No one expected them to be here, but they are. And if Sabonis continues to play at the level he is, De'Aaron Fox tries to keep on working his way up as one of the top point guards in the league, this team could very much make a very nice run. Because Sabonis is playing at a level that we have never seen Sabonis play at, and he's playing very good. Now, he just has to keep that consistency, and he has to do it throughout the playoffs. And De'Aaron Fox has to continue to try to elevate his game as well. And if he can do that, they could potentially make a nice little run. And then also their supporting cast needs to step up as well. And now the Los Angeles Clippers is, obvious. They need Kawhi and Paul George to play. And if they play, well, then you can be very, very good. Now, Kawhi Leonard, we've seen him win finals before. We know how good he can be in the playoffs. But Paul George has notoriously been pretty bad in the playoffs. Now, last year he had a pretty solid run without Kawhi. But still, for the most part, Paul George's playoff runs have been very lackluster. So if them two can play at the level we know they can play at, it is going to be almost impossible for any team to beat them in a 7-game series if they can stay healthy and play every game in those series, that is. And now the New Orleans Pelicans, their biggest thing is when they are healthy, they can literally beat anyone on this team. The problem with them is they're just almost never healthy. But if they can get good health going into the playoffs, the Pelicans are going to be a hard out no matter who you are, because Zion Williamson, when he is fully healthy, is literally unstoppable. Brandon Ingram, when he's fully healthy, is an all-star level point guard. I mean, all-star level wing, and then CJ McCollum, when he's fully healthy, can play at an all-star level as well. Their just main thing is getting that health that they desperately need. And then the Minnesota Timberwolves is because Rudy Gobert and Karl-Anthony Towns, if they learn to play together, those are two elite big men that bring very different things to the court. Cat, although not a great defender, is one of the best scoring bigs in the league, and he can score from pretty much everywhere on the court. Rudy Gobert, although not being a good offensive player, is one of the best defensive bigs in the entire NBA when it comes to a paint perspective. So if both of them can just work off each other and learn how to coexist on the court, that could be huge for them. And then also if Anthony Edwards is able to take that big step that everyone kind of expected him to take this year, that would go a long way as well. And now for the Golden State Warriors, I mean, that one's obvious. They have so much finals experience. No one wants to play Steph Curry in the playoffs. He is an absolute beast. Their system is next to none. And I mean, the big four of Draymond, Klay Thompson, Steph Curry, Jordan Poole, that is almost impossible to knock out. We know how good they can be at their peak. And if they can just get back to that point, nobody's going to want to see them in the playoffs, no matter where the Warriors are seated. And if they can just go back to what they did just last year, they can easily make a finals run once again. And now for the final team in the Western Conference, we have the Dallas Mavericks. And the Dallas Mavericks, really the only reason they have Luka Doncic. They don't have a lot around him, but Luka Doncic is just that good that he can single-handedly, like we saw last year, at least carry them to the Western Conference Finals. And if their role players are able to step up, maybe he will even be enough to bring them all the way to the NBA Finals. But unfortunately, guys, that's my first video. So comment below, do you agree with me? Do you think that your team might be able to win the finals? Do you think I missed any reasons on here? Thoughts in the comment section below. If you like me, point, hit the like button and subscribe button. It means the absolute world to me. And I hope you have a blessed day, because I have a blessed day, so you need to have a blessed day. All glory to God. See you in the next video. Goodbye. Boo. Blah, blah, blah.